Fácil. Basically, what I want to do today, and it's so important here, básicamente lo que quisiera hacer hoy, y es tan importante acá, we need to raise the denounce level. Necesitamos elevar la denuncia, y and we need to point the responsibility where the responsibility is. Necesitamos poner la responsabilidad donde la responsabilidad está. This that our compañeras, our sisters, Garifuna sisters are going through, lo que nuestras hermanas Garifunas están pasando, es un acto racista y deliberado de parte del gobierno de los Estados Unidos. It's a racist and deliberate action of the government of the United States. And why do I say that? I say that because all of you here, all of you, every single one of you, I see your faces, all my brothers and sisters, have been following up what has been happening in Honduras over the last 5 years and more. Todos han estado siguiendo lo que ha estado pasando en Honduras en los últimos 5 años y quizás más. The direct participation of the United States government in Honduras during the military coup. That direct participation of creating the conditions of violence that today make the people of Honduras don't want to live in their own countries because they just can't do it anymore. Crear las condiciones de violencia que obligan a los hondureños y a las hondureñas a irse de su propio país porque simplemente no pueden vivir ahí ya. In 2012, Honduras was declared the most violent country in the world. And that statistic only keeps on increasing as people are being killed. Today, it's children that are being killed, not just women and youth and men, but the children. And so how can people live in a country that has turned into what Honduras is today? What the United States has turned Honduras into today? ¿Cómo pueden las personas vivir en un país que se ha convertido en esas condiciones, un país que Estados Unidos ha convertido en eso? And so when the people leave and they are escaping, trying to find some type of relief in this country that is still, the propaganda is that this is the best country in the world, right? They come here and this is how they are treated. La gente trata de escapar las condiciones de violencia, de extrema pobreza. Vienen aquí buscando esa idea que siempre se promueve de que Estados Unidos es un país, el mejor país del mundo. Llegan aquí y así son recibidos, con humillación, con racismo, total discriminación. They are being received with extreme levels of discrimination, humiliation, racism. So we need to put the blame where the blame is. And there is not other more responsible than the U.S. government. This government needs to stop financing the military police in Honduras that is killing the children and that is creating those conditions of violence that is making the people of Honduras leave. I was just speaking to a friend of mine yesterday who was writing to me before, and I spoke to him yesterday, talking to me about what are we going to do about all the exiles. What are we going to do about all the people that are living in Honduras, the ones that we know are in Latin America and in the United States? ¿Qué vamos a hacer, me decía un compañero ayer, con esos exiliados, los que se están yendo, los que están en América Latina y en Estados Unidos? And it's hard to have an answer. You know, recently there was one of the highest profiles murders in Honduras, Margarita Murillo. She was assassinated about 3 weeks ago. And she is a struggler from the 1980s. And recently we just learned that his son is here because he escaped his, he was kidnapped and he was about to be killed too. And we don't know what we are going to do. So the most that we can do is denounce what the United States is doing. And we need to demand that our government stops putting our tax money where our tax money shouldn't be going, in creating and perpetrating all that violence. Realmente yo no sé qué podemos hacer, pero lo menos que podemos hacer es denunciar y exigir que este gobierno cese de utilizar nuestro dinero de nuestros impuestos para perpetrar la violencia en otros países. The United States needs to cease the occupation. It needs to stop the militarization. And we can't stop to demand that this government stops using our tax money to perpetrate violence. Because if that doesn't happen, this is what we're going to have. The exodus of people will not stop because people are escaping. No one can live under those conditions. So that's what we need to face. And so that's what we are doing. We need to raise the awareness, and we ask you to please help us raise the awareness too. Muchas gracias. Thank you. The church already serves sort of like a sanctuary where the women feel very comfortable and protected, and the children too. And they are also getting basic things like diapers, clothing, food. And they meet every Monday. There's a gathering, like a social gathering, where they come and they watch films and they could have discussions. And there's a particular organization called OFRANE, Organización Fraternal Negra, Fraternal Black Organization of Honduras, which its leader is here, Carla Garcia, and she has helped in try to organize the women, in having assemblies with the women. And what I know that the church is doing now is trying to reach out to other churches to see if they can give the same level of support to their migrant population, because we don't have awareness of other churches doing the same. But I know that that church in particular is trying to bring awareness to other churches so that to try to see if they can do something about it. I want to add something on the line of the racism of what ICE is doing with the women. We have noticed some specific characteristics of what is going on. We know of other people who have arrived at the same time or maybe later than the women have, and they haven't gotten the shackle. It's males, young males, and they're not getting it. It's women, it's black, it's mothers, and it's single. That is the traits that we have been noticing. This is why we are putting the denouncing out as a racist attack on the weakest. But one thing that we need to also recognize as far as the Garifuna community in Honduras is that U.S. corporations are expelling these compañeros and compañeras out of their communities because they want to build these super tourist tourist destinations. And the communities, the Garifuna communities in Honduras are located in the north coast of Honduras. Some of the most beautiful paradises of the Caribbean. So it's no coincidence that the ones that are being directly affected by the exodus are the Garifuna communities. But there is also important to recognize the hatred against the Honduran community. Those of you who follow the migrant situation from Mexico to the United States should know that most of the massacres that have been committed on the way to the United States have been of Honduran people. 30 people that have been found in common graves. And Father Solalin, one of the priests that supports the migrants on the way to the United States, has said it very clear. There seems to be this hatred on the part of the Mexican police against the Honduran who are migrants. It's interesting that most of these massacres have been committed against the Hondurans. So there seems to be this trait of hatred, but underneath it all, I'm just going to wrap it up quickly for you. There is this mega plan on the U.S. corporation interest to turn Honduras into model cities. And model cities mean that there is this big plan to create in Honduras a type of Dubai. And so how do you create that? By expelling the people who live there, because that Honduras that the U.S. corporations are envisioning and those mega tourist projects that they want to build in the north coast of the Garifuna communities are not going to be affordable by the Honduran people. So we need to kick them out of their land, and we need to kill them on the way, or we need to put shackles on them when they get to the United States. That's the bottom line. They want our land. U.S. capitalism, U.S. imperialism is so desperate for land and for resources that they are willing to kill the people, expel them out of their communities to take over their land and their resources.